We're in West Africa now. Burkina Faso says it has removed visa fees for all African travelers, and this is in an effort to facilitate the movement of people and goods into the country. Mahamadou Sana, the country's security minister, says from now on, any citizen from an African country wishing to go to Burkina Faso will not pay any amount to cover visa fees. He said this after a cabinet meeting chaired by the military leader, Captain Ibrahim Traore, on Thursday. However, the minister clarified that African visitors will be required to submit an online visa application, which will be reviewed for approval. The West African nation joins countries such as Ghana, Rwanda, and Kenya, which have all eased travel requirements for African visitors. Joining us now for more details on this story is our Sahel correspondent, Mo Seni Aliyu. Hello, Mo. Thank you for your time.
For having me live.
Well, from your vantage point, as you know, in the Sahel, how does Burkina Faso's visa fee waiver fit into the wider political and economic dynamics of the region?
Well, first things first, Burkina Faso and the two other members of the Association of Sahel States, that is Niger and Mali, really practically do not want to be estranged from the wider ECOWAS region, that is the West African region. Though they are still not part of the West African economic bloc, the ECOWAS, but all travelers hitherto, since they left the ECOWAS region, all African travelers from the West African sub-region have not been subjected to any hardship or sanctions when they cross into Burkina Faso and Mali and Niger, by the way. Therefore, to us, we living here in Ghana and Nigeria, whatever, there will not be a big difference. As the minister said, Burkina Faso wants to bring, Africans as part of the AU mission to have one Africa. They want Africans to get into Burkina Faso using the visa-free scheme that you said in your introduction that Ghana, Rwanda, and Kenya have already implemented. So it's in that range, or in that particular vein, that Burkina Faso is trying to bring all these other African nations, give them access. But there is a wider political matter at play. They want acceptance. As I said, Burkina Faso does not want to be estranged from Africa. In fact, the opposite is the case from the people I've been speaking to here at the border with Burkina Faso here in Tamale. And inside Burkina Faso, when I was there 2 months ago, I realized that the people of Burkina Faso, who are brothers across the border in Mali, in Niger, in Nigeria, and even in Cote d'Ivoire, they still want to continue living together, doing business together, and being their brothers' keepers. That is what I can say for now.
And given the persistent, insecurity across the Sahel borders, aren't there, challenges that authorities will face, in balancing open travel with security concerns?
Yeah, that's right. The northern part of Burkina Faso and the northeastern part, are mostly occupied by insurgent groups. The Ansaru, the ISWAP, and many other, insurgent groups are active in that region. In fact, over the last 2-3 months, there has been a steady stream of Burkina Faso citizens moving to the central and southern parts of the country to seek refuge from vicious attacks by these Boko Haram style terrorists. So people getting into Burkina Faso now have very few options. The safest way to get into Burkina Faso is through the southern borders. That is from Cote d'Ivoire, from Ghana, from Togo, and from Benin Republic. So most of the nations in that particular part, the coastal states there, people pass through them because even from Niger, which is the neighboring country west of Burkina Faso, their citizens have to go through Benin Republic and Togo before they can get into Burkina Faso because the road between Niamey and Ouagadougou has become unusable due to terrorist activity there. So the country's government has been trying and fighting the terrorist groups in the north and in the northeast with Russian help, of course, but there are still so many obstacles in their way. So people will find it very difficult to get into the country, even if they have visas, unless, of course, if they're going through the southern countries, as I mentioned earlier. This is the situation right now. So that is something that is, at work. The government has to find a way to clear those parts, the northern and the northeastern part of the country, for people to be able to move freely.
And you mentioned earlier, Mo, about Burkina Faso citizens who have family, brothers in other countries. I imagine this is now good news for them, particularly for traders, travelers, and the local communities who depend on cross-border movement.
Excellent. Yeah, that is true because many people in northern Ghana actually, even the paramount leader in Burkina Faso is said to be, his ancestors come from northern Ghana, the region of Tamale here. And so these people are related, and there is a lot of trade. Even in Accra, you will find that there is a market in the central part of Accra called Nima, where all the goods and services that people require in Burkina Faso, they use that as a base to launch or to transfer and transport people and services and goods across the northern border of Ghana into Burkina Faso. And so many people are connected. This political problem between ECOWAS and these AES states has hit them hard in a way, but things are looking up. It looks like the Burkina Faso government is finally reaching out, because there is talk of some reapproachment. No, they are not saying that they're going back into the ECOWAS sub-region or into the ECOWAS fold, but it looks like some significant progress is being made between the AES states and the ECOWAS states, so that trade and travel and other restrictions that have hitherto been in place will be removed.
Yeah, and talking about the AES states very quickly, do you see, Mali and Niger, probably consider this similar measures? What might drive or perhaps deter them?
Yes, this is a point I spoke about earlier with one of the people I met who is also a dual citizen of Ghana and Burkina Faso. He said that he's been to Ghana for the past 2 years. He's been in Ghana for the past 2 years, but that some of the people in the ECOWAS region that have spoken to traders from Mali and Niger are saying that these countries really do not, the governments of these three countries really do not want to have problems with the other countries of world. In fact, most of the goods and services that get into Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso come from the coastal states, including Nigeria. So it will serve them really well for, this movement of goods and services, and open borders will serve these three countries. So I am really very sure, very certain that very soon these two other countries, that is Mali and Niger, would also find an opportunity to open their borders to the broader West African and African nations, citizens from these countries, to get their goods and services into those countries. It's a win-win situation from what I can see from here.
Indeed, in the end, a united Africa is what we are looking to. But thank you so much, Mo Sani Aliyu, our Channels TV's Sahel correspondent. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, Layo.